If I was to say hi Jay, it's nice to meet you in your language, how would that sound?
Okay, so it's you say like Matisa Kaintesa Dua. When you get on Mutidagosa. Africa is a vibe, you know, like I can't just be doing one style. Everything I love, I'll touch, you know what I mean? Like we're in a time where you can do whatever, and I've never wanted to box myself in any way. So I do popular African music. Now, I think we've definitely arrived. I mean, Africa has always been like the melting pot of great talent. And the beautiful thing about the digital space is has eliminated that thing that used to block our sound from going out easily, you know, because we know like now, we don't need the big labels on the other side to be the ones that kind of come and get us and bring our music to the other side. Now the digital space and us taking hold of it, us recognizing our numbers. We have the numbers to push our music out. We have people in the diaspora. We don't even have to understand each other, you know, because music is universal, but us realizing that we have the numbers, and as long as we are supporting ourselves, the rest of the world will follow. It's our time. Our sound is different. Our sound is so unique. You know, we have so many genres on the continent. People think Afrobeat is just one style. But like for me, when people talk about Afrobeat, I'm like, you listen to African music, you'll see that there's so many variations. Yeah. So much, like there's so much sauce. You know, there's so much sauce. And the level keeps going like this. Keeps going up and up and up. So it's our time. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
It is our time, and the world had better pay attention. They even have no choice. They have to pay attention.
No, they got no choice. Right now they are. They got no choice right now, you know. They have. Unless you're living under a rock, you will not know, you know. But if you're on your phone, you will know African music.
Okay.
Lagos is a vibe.
Okay.
Abuja is laid back.
Okay.
You know, if I had to live somewhere, I probably would live in Abuja.
I don't even want to ask you why. We already know.
Lagos, no, don't get me wrong. Lagos is a vibe, you know, It's a serious vibe. But like, I feel like it's a bit too hectic for me to stay permanently. Like, I'd have to go and like just stay in Abuja and then fly into Lagos every time I need to do like a gig or something like that. But to permanently be based there, I'll have to get used to that one. No, but it's a vibe. Like Nigeria is a vibe, you know, the people y'all are always receptive, you know, and just great vibes, you know what I mean?
Your full name, your name is Taylor Jaye, right? Is that like your name that you just turned into, or is a stage name that came about? What's the story behind that?
Okay, so Jay is short for Jalisa. Like my real name is Jalisa. So my whole life they've called me Jay, but I didn't want to write it as just like J or Jay. So I added the E, just kind of to differentiate myself. And Taylor, interestingly, is my surname in English. So my surname is Kauses. It's Damara. It's from the Khoisan language, and in when you translate it, it means Taylor, like Tailor. So I just wrote it as Tay. You know what I mean, like tailor made. So yeah, it is technically my surname and my name combined in the oddest way.
Okay. Nobody would know if you don't tell the story, or except people that know you. Nobody would know that there's a story behind how the name came. You just mentioned a couple of things. Now, first of all, let me ask you. You are obviously not Nigerian.
No, okay. I'm Namibian.
I know you are Namibian. I was building to so for those who would watch this and see this beautifully, they're like, who is this fine Nigerian lady? So Taylor Jaye is not Nigerian; she's Namibian. And you mentioned that your name. What tribe are you from? Is that the correct thing? Because Nigeria, you have a lot of tribes. So I'm assuming.
Okay, so I'm from the Damara tribe. Okay. That's like the San people of the South, like the Khoisan people that most people would know as the Bushmen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my tribe originates from there. I don't know. I always tell people the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy. If anyone has seen it.
Yeah.
The language spoken in that movie is like my language. So even like my tribe comes from there. So I speak one of the dialects from there. Yeah, it's one of the oldest languages but like most indigenous unknown languages in the world. But like when I say oldest, there's going back to cave paintings. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's one of the oldest languages.
Okay. So yeah. I know it has the tonation is what is interesting to me.
Yeah,
it sounds like Zulu, South African. I just know when I hear that, I know, okay, this is from Southern Africa. I do not know the exact country, but I know that this is from. Okay, so if I was to say, hi Jay, it's nice to meet you in your language, how would that sound?
Okay, so you'll say like, Matisa kaintesa duwa, kanyi get on muti dakosa.
That sounds like a lot. Could you run it one more time? I'll get to this time.
Okay, let me make it simpler. Because I was saying it like in proper formal way. Okay. Let me say it. So you say Matisa, which is my hi, like Matisa. It's like hi, how are you? That's Matisa in one way.
Okay, Matisa.
Matisa, plaintes. Now that's where it gets a little bit complicated. Now that one I can only explain. That one you have to, the click goes on top of the tongue. You have to be like.
Oh God, I don't want to offend Namibia until we get to see this and it come from my head. So I think I'll just keep that, and probably at a later time when next you and I talk, I'll even speak English. That's the first thing I'll say. We'll just be going back and forth because I'd have learned it. But did you grew up in the UK, or at what point did you move to the UK, or you've always lived in the UK all your life?
So no, I'm just here for the awards. I came down to perform, and I'm here doing a couple of gigs. I'm actually based in South Africa.
Okay.
I've never lived in the UK. Okay. The only Western country I've lived in is in the US when I was a kid. But I'm currently based in South Africa. Yeah.
In South Africa. Any particular reason why you left Namibia? Because we know, we in this part of the world, we are familiar, at least to some extent, with the South African music industry. I personally am interested to know how things work outside the country, music-wise and everything. Mm-hmm. So is there any particular reason why you are not in Namibia and you decided to, make South Africa your base?
Yeah. So when I moved back from the US, it was in the middle of college. I went to SA to finish. I was doing engineering. So after I graduated, I decided I'm going to stay in South Africa. Reason being, South Africa is like the hub of entertainment in Africa. Especially they control the digital space, bigger population and all that. So it just made more sense for me to be where everything is kind of centralized, So that's why I remained behind.
Okay. So from engineering to music, that's a very, very story. How did that happen? Have you always wanted to do music? And why didn't you just do music in school, but you decided to become an engineer? I assume you graduated, so you are an engineer at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's because I got black parents. I was raised by a mother and a very strict grandmother, and my grandmother said, you are not going to finish high school and go and study music or just go and do music. They're like, you need to get a degree first, So, I mean, I think every African can relate that. Yeah, most of our parents are not going to be like, oh, go and do music, So I had to come to an agreement and kind of prove myself. So I said, okay, fine, I will give you a degree. After I give you this degree, you have to let me do what I want to do. Yeah, because then at least you'll feel more comfortable knowing I have a fallback plan, So that's basically what happened.
Okay. So if you just heard what I was playing now, I was listening to the song before I came in. I'm trying to remember. It was a song you did at the Remix Studio. I'm trying to remember the song now.
Oh, you don't even know that I exist.
So in my mind, I was like, back in the day when we used to use ringtones and colorback tunes and everything, these are the kind of songs that we would cut and put for a certain person, especially the part that has, you don't even know that I exist. It's relatable to a lot of situations. So it's a very, 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 very enjoyable song. So like I said, while I was doing my research I just realized you had put out a lot of music. So I want to ask, if I was to describe the sound you make, your type of music, what would I call it?
So I call my music Afro pop because I do popular African music. I don't just do amapiano, I don't just do house, I don't just do Afrobeat. I do popular African music because I just think like Africa is a vibe, you know, like I can't just be doing one style. Everything I love, I'll touch, you know what I mean? Like we're in a time where you can do whatever and I've never wanted to box myself in any way. So I do popular African music.
Oh, so your own Afro pop now is not like pop music, but it's popular.
Yeah, no. So by Afro pop, I mean I do variations of African music. You know, I touch a little bit on, a little bit on Afro beats. I'll get a little bit of amapiano, a little bit of coming through, a little bit of kuduru zanku coming through. You know, so. It really just depends, you know, what's happening in studio. Yeah.
Because I
like to blend a lot of things.
One of my questions was, that's why I asked if I wanted to describe because I've heard a couple of your songs and I noticed that it's not just one way. It's either I'm a piano here and I noticed you have a little bit of Afro beats and other genres and everything. I think it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to do. But you mentioned one particular genre now that was sounded like Zanku.
Yeah.
Like the Nigerian Zanku, or there's another one that we don't know about?
So us in the South, we have what we call kuduru. Kuduru comes from like Angola and Mozambique. Okay. And Zanku is basically like a variation of that. Like the first time I heard Zanku, I was like, oh, this sounds like kuduru music, you know. It's very up-tempo. It's like kind of got a house flavor, more speedy, but it's like still Afrobeat, you know. So I have some songs like that. Like I don't know if you've heard my song Keshe. Keshe is kind of like having that kuduru. I blended like kuduru and Zanku in one song. Yeah. Okay.
So kuduru and Zanku are very, very similar. I'm sure the Nigerians will be very, very interested in hearing how both sides or both genres sound very, very similar. It's interesting. It's interesting. So you also describe yourself like, I think you wear a couple of hats. And so I had to write them down so I wouldn't forget. So your Instagram says you're a musician, a director, an actor, and designer. Like I said, a lot of hats. How do you combine all these parts into one? How do you streamline everything? Because I know you also have a fashion line as well. So how do you combine everything? Sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And I'm not going to say it's easy. You know, sometimes I go crazy. You know, my mind has to be all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just one of those artists that whenever I feel like I want something done my way, like then I'll eventually just be like, you know what, let me learn how to do it. You know, I didn't initially start out wanting to do fashion. I've always just designed my own clothes. Like my grandmother is actually, funny fact, so my surname is Taylor. My grandma was Taylor, you know. So I grew up knowing how to sew, you know, so I've always like made my own outfits and things like that. But I never thought about it like, oh, one day I'm going to do it like as a clothing line and things like that. It just kind of happened last year in the middle of COVID. I was like, you know what? Everyone keeps asking me, why don't you put out pieces, you know, the things that you wear and stuff like that and start selling it to like the masses. So it just kind of happened organically. With the directing, I had an experience shooting a music video and it didn't come out the way I wanted. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of directors taking my scripts and turning them upside down. I'm going to have to learn how to direct and know everything that's happening on set. So my visuals start looking the way I wanted. So that's how I started learning how to be a director and putting together a production team. And that's how I put together my production team. So everything I do, it's kind of just organic. I'm not like waking up, oh, today I'm just going to do this. No, it kind of just comes from like a need, you know, or the entertainment industry has so many different assets. So I just kind of like progress towards where I need things to be the way I need them to be. You know?
So basically, you're saying you're a very hands-on person. You like to do your things yourself. Okay.
Yes.
I believe me, I can understand that. I can understand that. So let's talk about, before we talk about your songs and the music in person, I'd like to hear your thoughts on African music in general now. You understand, we've been having a lot of successes. when it comes to music, not just Nigerians now, but outside the country as well. It's always been, it's almost like once stuff is popping in Nigeria, the SA guys are doing the same thing and other people are doing the same. So the quality generally, and the guys in Kenya too are doing their thing. So the quality generally just keeps going up and going up. So I found out recently that Diamond Platinum, you know, you're familiar with Diamond Platinum, Tanzanian artist. I found out that he has one of the highest, if not the highest, digital views or YouTube views or something. And this is a guy that sings in Swahili. Do you understand? So in my mind, I'm like, oh wow, things are really looking up for African music. So what do you think? Do you think we have arrived and now the world has no choice than to listen to us, or do you think this might just be a phase that we shouldn't get carried away with, and we should just, you know, focus more on doing more? What do you think?
No, I think we've definitely arrived. I mean, Africa has always been like the melting pot of great talent. And the beautiful thing about the digital space is has eliminated that thing that used to block our sound from going out easily, you know, because we know like now we don't need the big labels on the other side to be the ones that kind of come and get us and bring our music to the other side. Now the digital space and us taking hold of it, us recognizing our numbers. We have the numbers to push our music out. We have people in the diaspora. We don't even have to understand each other, you know, because music is universal, but us realizing that we have the numbers, and as long as we are supporting ourselves, the rest of the world will follow. For example, with Diamond Platinum, as you're saying, Swahili is the most spoken African language on the continent. There's most countries in Africa speak Swahili. So for all of those countries to be coming together and supporting Diamond and putting him on the top, and the numbers that they're giving him, the rest of the world, it will have to, appear on the digital map, you know, where now people in other countries are saying, okay, who is this person that's having, on average, 20, 30 million views on YouTube? You know, he's getting more views than even American artists or European artists, or going head to head with South American artists. So I think it's our time. Our sound is different. Our sound is so unique. You know, we have so many genres on the continent. People think Afrobeat is just one style. But like for me, when people talk about Afrobeat, I'm like, you listen to African music, you'll see that there's so many variations. Yeah. So much, like there's so much sauce. You know, there's so much sauce. And the level keeps going like this. Keeps going up and up and up. So it's our time. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
It is our time, and the world had better pay attention. They even have no choice. They have to pay attention.
No, they got no choice. Right now, they got no choice right now, you know. They have. Unless you're living under a rock, you will not know, you know. But if you're on your phone, you will know African music. You will have seen a video of Amapiano. You will have seen an Afrobeat video, something yana. Hello. Yes.
Of course. I agree. So let me ask you, Taylor, what's going on? What are you working on at the moment? And I am Nigerian, and like I said, we always welcome the most diverse sounds from everywhere in the world. We always welcome.
I've been to your country, by the way.
Oh, so what did you think?
Yes, I've been there like 4 times.
Okay.
And yeah, no, Lagos is a vibe.
Okay.
Abuja is laid back.
Okay.
You know, if I had to live somewhere, I probably would live in Abuja.
I don't even want to ask you why. We already know.
Lagos, no, don't get me wrong. Lagos is a vibe, you know, It's a serious vibe. But like, I feel like it's a bit too hectic for me to stay permanently. Like, I'd have to go and like just stay in Abuja and then fly into Lagos every time I need to do like a gig or something like that. But to permanently be based there, I'll have to get used to that one. No, but it's a vibe. Like Nigeria is a vibe. You know, the people y'all are always receptive. You know, and just great vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I was asking, what's up with the music? What are you working on at the moment? What can we, your fans, expect to hear from Taylor? You just did a great gig in the UK. So what's next? What's next for you?
Okay, so I'm out here in the UK. I got a couple of gigs, so you guys will be seeing the whole Yano vibe. Amapiano, some Afro beats coming through. I think I have a gig even on Sunday. Couple of gigs lined up, some surprises lined up. Dropping new music. I'm even dropping the Keshe remix, Amapiano remix. That's with Patoranking.
You see how you just dropped that? Like, whoa. Circle back. You see how you just dropped that? Like, you have Patoranking on the song. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Please continue.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be dropping the Amapiano remix of that song, which we just decided to throw out there, and just adding. I dropped an EP earlier in the year, so we're just gonna be adding more singles to it before we drop a deluxe. Yeah, some more Amapiano tracks, a little bit of. I have a song coming out also with Stoneboy. So just dropping a few more songs before the year ends, and then going into festive heavy.
So how was working with Patoranking? How was, because he's a huge star here, and the rest of Africa, So how was working with him?
No, it was great. Like, we met years back in SA at a Trace event.
Okay.
And after that, we started chatting a bit. I said, we should work together one day. About like a year and a half, 2 years later, a producer that I was working with from Zim, that was working on one of my tracks, he's like, yo, I'm actually working on Pato's album. He was working on Confirm at the time.
Okay.
And he's like, should I holler at him, to kind of like for you guys to work together? So I said, for sure, holler at him. He agreed. He's like, yeah, make a beat for us. And then we both jumped on it. It was cool.
Okay. We really cannot wait to hear the results of what you guys came up with. So I want to ask you a very funny question. I term it funny because usually it's always the other way around. But I'd like to flip the question now. So now you are familiar with the Nigerian music industry, at least to some extent. You've been here 4 times, so you at least you just have Patoranking on the song, and I know you still have a couple of future collaborations with the guys that'll be coming up. So what would you say? What do you think Nigerian musicians now could learn from their international counterparts, like from their other African counterparts, like from people like you who are not Nigerian but familiar with the industry? What do you think they could learn?
I think right now they could learn the the versatility of the sound. Because right now, obviously, we're from the South, and in the South, house is big. House has always been a big sound, but now a variation of the sound is Amapiano. We just came out of home, now we're going into Amapiano.
Okay.
So I think the biggest thing they can learn now is the culture of the sound, because Amapiano back home is not just a sound, it's a culture. House has always been a culture, kind of like the way you have hip hop, hip hop and rap. It's the same thing. Hip hop is the culture. You get what I mean? So I think with Nigerians right now, viewing the sound and following the sound, it's important to if you're going to replicate it or follow it, to also understand the culture, go after the culture, so that the sound remains authentic as you push it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we need the diaspora. We need y'all to push the sound. Y'all got the numbers, man. Y'all got the numbers. This sound cannot go global without the Nigerians, so I'm telling you now.
I agree. Sometimes we hear, we've had it in the past where other African acts are always like, Nigerians all the time. But again, if you look at how, I wouldn't say other people do not work as hard or as much, but sometimes if you look at the advantages we have, like the numbers, like you said. And the fact that the average, it's not even just the average. Like, I don't think people should be looking at it from that angle. I think we need to do more collaborations, man. I think that's one of the ways we can, push the sound more and more. Now you have a song coming up with Patoranking. We've had what's the song?
No, the song is the Keshe remix is coming out.
Keshe remix with Patoranking is coming out. So guys, please look out for that. And we've also had examples of SA musicians partnering with Nigerian musicians. We've had Southeast Soul. They are no longer Kenyan musicians. They are now Nigerian musicians. With how much they have collaborated with Nigerian artists. You understand? If Casper holds a concert, Casper Nyobes, if he holds a concert in Lagos, it's going to be packed. Do you understand? So that's how much I feel like other acts can, instead of saying Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, just collaborate and let's just push the sound.
Yeah, I think right now the collaboration is what's working. You know what I mean? Even I know, like, when Focalistic collaborated with Davido, automatically it put the Amapiano sound.
That's the name I was trying to remember.
Yeah. It automatically put the sound in the faces of Africans and the diaspora that followed Davido, you know what I mean? That now they start hearing a different African sound coming through from one of our heavyweights. And I think if Nigerians also, they keep on, one thing I love about Nigerians is that y'all are not afraid to collaborate, you get me? Because you understand that for African music to grow, we have to, you get me? The rest of the Africans need to be on board and we need to push this thing together. Yes. A win for one of us is a win for all of us, you get me? For us to get our music to the level that we want to get at, you know what I mean? So I appreciate the fact that Nigerians have never shied away from collaborations. It doesn't matter which country you're coming from, you get me, to push the sound. If something sounds good, y'all will jump on it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And y'all got numbers, and we need them numbers. I keep saying this. East Africa got the numbers, you know what I mean? East Africa also got the numbers. So so whatever must happen, you get me, by fire, by force, it must push. We must push the sound. You get me? Africans must win. I can't taste though. Nigeria kay ellos satura ti music support tosta ti kabara ke toha nog te meer amdirati so dat ke toha de nog supporter kay ellos.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, Taylor, thank you very much. This was fun. You have an amazing